South Africa's political stage was thrown into turmoil as Helen Zille, a senior figure within the Democratic Alliance, took the floor during a nationally televised parliamentary session and confronted President Cyril Ramaphosa with what she described as damning, irrefutable evidence of secretive backdoor dealings tied to his office. The confrontation, unexpected and electrifying, sent immediate shockwaves throughout the chamber and beyond. It wasn't just Zille's bold stance that stunned onlookers, it was the nature and depth of the allegations, combined with her unflinching delivery. Armed with a folder marked, classified, whistleblower files, Zille wasted no time revealing what she said South Africans deserve to hear. "We cannot pretend anymore," she said as she stood before the microphone. "The man who stands as the symbol of reform and clean governance has questions to answer, and today, we begin to ask them." The evidence Zille presented consisted of emails, meeting transcripts, and internal memos, allegedly leaked by a senior government insider. According to Zille, the documents detail unauthorized dealings between the presidency and select multinational corporations, particularly concerning large-scale infrastructure projects and digital security contracts. More troubling were references to unaccounted funds transferred to offshore accounts and the existence of private communications bypassing cabinet channels, raising questions about legality and ethical governance. One of the documents, displayed on a projector screen for the entire chamber and TV audience to see, allegedly showed Ramaphosa's approval of a deal that granted foreign investors access to national infrastructure development decisions, an agreement that had never been disclosed to Parliament or the South African public. Zille called this a betrayal of the democratic process. "Mr. President, you speak of a new dawn. But the darkness behind these documents tells a different story. Who benefits from these deals? And why were they hidden from the people you serve?" As the allegations piled up, the room grew increasingly volatile. ANC MPs leaped to Ramaphosa's defense, labeling the evidence as circumstantial and Zille's actions as reckless political theater. But opposition parties, particularly the EFF and IFP, demanded immediate answers and called for an independent judicial review. Speaker of Parliament attempted to calm the storm, but the moment had already ignited the nation's attention. Live broadcasts of the session were cut and resumed multiple times as shouting matches broke out between MPs. Zille, however, remained composed, finishing her statement with a direct challenge to the president. "If you have nothing to hide, Mr. President, you should welcome an investigation. Let transparency prevail." As the session adjourned, social media platforms exploded with hashtags like #ZilleReveals, #RamaphosaFiles, and #ParliamentTruthBomb. Within hours, talk radio, news outlets, and political commentators were dissecting every line Zille read and every document she referenced. The presidency released a short and measured statement that evening. The president categorically denies any wrongdoing. Allegations presented today are politically motivated and currently unverified. The president remains committed to accountability and transparency, and the office will cooperate with any legitimate inquiry. Meanwhile, Helen Zille stood her ground in post-session interviews. She insisted the documents would be made available to an independent forensic panel and vowed to continue pursuing the matter until all questions were answered. "This isn't about one man, it's about protecting the principles of our democracy. South Africans deserve leaders who serve, not conceal." Legal experts have since weighed in, suggesting that if the documents are authenticated, Ramaphosa could face serious constitutional and legal consequences, including potential motions for impeachment or criminal investigation. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: Zille's public confrontation has ripped open a storm that cannot easily be contained. Whether this moment becomes the catalyst for systemic accountability or yet another chapter in South Africa's turbulent political saga remains to be seen. But the veil has been lifted, and the country is watching.